20 old messages. The memory is full. Please erase your messages. Message 1.
Okay, so does it sync or not? This message will tell.
Message 2.
It's not on speakerphone right now. It's on regular talk mode. And I'm on speaker? Now it's on talk, and I'm speaking close to it. Now it's on speaker, and I'm still speaking close to it. Now it's on the table. This should be close enough for it to work, but who knows? We're talking about the I'm going to switch over to the bass.
Message 3.
Okay, this is the first testing message on the Toshiba 10-channel scanning cordless telephone. On the base it also says Compandor Noise Reduction System. It's fancy. Okay, I'm going to exit the studio now. And I'm going to traverse across the other room. I just heard a little bit of static there, but otherwise it still sounds pretty clear. I'm approaching the sink now. And now I'm as far as I can go. I heard a little bit of noise there as I turned around. But that's pretty typical for these kind of phones. Overall, it seems like it's pretty clear. So that also would suggest that this was made by Uniden because it in fact still works correctly. Okay, I'm going to close the studio door now. It's closed. And I'm going to try to hang up on the base, but I don't know if it'll work or not because of the dirt on the contacts.
Message 4.
This is the second and final testing message from the Toshiba 6604 10-channel scanning cordless telephone. This time I'll hang up with the button.
Message 5.
Well, this is take 2 because take 1 didn't record at all because it didn't hear anything that I said, apparently.
Message 6.
Inherently, the regular talk mode's pickup is worthless because the first testing message didn't pick up anything. So now we're on speakerphone. I'm going to exit the studio now and traverse across the room to make sure that the coverage is good because it should be working perfectly fine across the room with this frequency and technology. So here we are across the room. Now I'm going to traverse back towards the studio and let's see how good the audio quality is on this pickup. I think it's going to be very poor. And I hope that maybe I can replace the microphone or clean it or do something like that to make it work better again.
Message 7.
Back on talk and I'm shouting practically into this telephone. Is it picking up anything?
Message 8.
This is the bass microphone test. Okay, the microphone, this one is not on the bottom, it's on the side. So right now, it's on the table and I'm speaking directly above it. Still recording, hopefully it keeps recording. I'm going to put the piece of wood down now. Okay, now it's on the piece of wood. And it's still recording, so maybe the bass speakerphone works okay. I'm going to start moving away from the phone now. Right now I'm about 2 feet away from the telephone. And now this is about 3 to 4 feet away from the telephone. And it looks like the testing engine is still recording. Now we're about 5 feet away from the telephone, 6 feet away from the telephone. If this is still recording, I'm going to be very surprised. Now I'm moving across the room, which is about 11 feet. So that will conclude this test. And it's still recording, so maybe the bass microphone is the okay.
Message 9.
This is a test of the bass speakerphone. The microphone, of course, is the fake on the top. The microphone is really on the bottom. I'm going to pick up the phone and speak right into it. Now now I'm going to shift the phone over to the cardboard, to the carpet. And now, is there any difference in the way that it sounds? Because now it's on the carpet instead of being on the table, or rather, instead of being on the wood, it's on the table either way. Clearly, my brain's not working that well today. Okay, now I'm speaking about a foot away from the telephone, right down into it. I'm going to start moving away from the phone. I'm about 2 feet away from the phone. The testing engine machine is still recording, so hopefully it's working. I'm at about 3 feet away, 4 feet away, 5 feet away. It looks like it's still recording. I'm going to keep going back. I'm about 6 feet away from the telephone, 7 feet away from the telephone. And it's still recording, so it must be picking up something. This is about 11 feet. So if it's working back here, that's pretty good. And I'm going to put the mute button on briefly here. That worked. If it just cut out there, that does work. I'll do the same thing with the hold button now. Testing. Thing is back on now. Okay. Over and out.
Message 10.
Okay, here's the test from the handset. This is on talk mode. I'm going to vacate the studio now, and let's see how good the range is. I remember the range on the 910 ADL being pretty decent. I'm almost all the way across the room now. I just heard little bits of static here and there, but not anything to be of any concern. I think that's well within the reasonable coverage, because this is only an analog model, or the Anatan, if you prefer. Okay, now I'm going to go back into the studio now, and close this door, using the other door because that one's not squeaky. And I'm going to hang up into the base.
Message 11.
In this particular message, I'm going to change the channel a couple of times. We can hear what that sounds like. Channel change, 1, 2, 3. Now, this time I'm going to hang up with the off button.
Message 12.
The speakerphone does not seem to play the tones when you dial through it, which I find quite odd. Okay.
Message 13.
I guess I need to learn how to use this phone because I think I hung up on that other message. Anyways, when I dialed this time, the tones were there. No, it's kind of weird. Now they're not. It's like, it's the inconsistent. Okay, I'm going to test the mute button now. Test the mute button. If it's cutting in and out, then it's okay. That's good. It's working. Okay, now for a volume comparison, I'm going to switch it to phone mode. Just switch it to phone mode, and so now we can hear the difference in the volume between phone mode and speakerphone mode. Okay, so it's on speakerphone now. I'm speaking pretty close to it, about 2 or 3 inches away. I'm going to put it down on the table, and it has to sit flat on the table. Oh, actually, no, that's incorrect. It does have a flat bottom to it, so it stands up on the table. Okay, so now it's about 1 foot away from it. I'm speaking right into the telephone over it. Now I'm going to start moving back a little bit. It's still recording, so I think the pickup is probably okay at this distance. Now I'm about 2 feet away from the telephone. Looks like it is still picking up. 3 feet away from the telephone. I'm just going to slowly start moving back. I'm getting to about 4 to 5 foot range. Halfway across the room. Backwards from the telephone. All the way across. Here's this noisy testing machine still recording. So maybe it was picking up that whole time. Hopefully this is a good phone. This could be a fantastic speakerphone. Debug.
Message 14.
Okay, so I'm only about 2 feet away from it, and it's already full of static. Not static, more like that really fast kind of clipping, not clipping, like the flicking sound. Alright, I'm going to exit the studio now. phone has a nice amount of side tone to it. Okay, I'm walking across the room, and I'm hearing all sorts of background noise in the call. Now I am all the way over by where the water equipment is, and I'm hearing tons of static. I'll try to change the channel, but I doubt it'll do any good. Yeah, this channel is just as bad. Okay. So, the phone, the reception stinks. I'm not surprised. Over and out.
Message 15.
This testing message is to hear what it sounds like when you hang up into the base.
Message 16.
This is a speakerphone test with the telephone on the piece of wood. Now this is the speakerphone test with the telephone on the carpet. If it makes any difference, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to move away from the speakerphone now. I'm going to put the piece of wood back because previously it is shown to sound a little bit better, in my opinion, on the carpet. So right now I'm about a foot away from the telephone, speaking right over it. I'm going to start moving back. Now we're about 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, and this of course is the speakerphone test. 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet, 11 feet. I'm all the way across the room now. If it's still picking up at this point, then this is a pretty good speakerphone.
Message 17.
Ghost! Okay, this is the handset, and it sounds pretty clear to me at the moment. I don't really hear any static. Just heard some right there. And I just exited the studio. I'm going across the room, and this is clearer than I expected it to be. I'm about more than halfway to the water equipment. I just heard some static there. Now I'm all the way across the room, and to my surprise, it's still kind of clear. Okay, that's interesting. I was not expecting this to work very well at all. Alright, I'm going to change the channel a couple times, and I'll show this on video momentarily, but it shows the channel it's on the screen, which is kind of cool. And this is channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, and now I will hang up with the button so we can hear what that sounds like.
Message 18.
I'm surprised the buttons work as well as they do, considering how dirty they are. This time I'm going to hang up into the base.
Message 19. Message 20.
Okay, here is testing message number 1. This is on the base. And of course we have the fake microphone, which actually is not even anywhere near where it's labeled. It's labeled on the side, and in fact it's in towards the middle. Right now the unit is sitting on the carpet, and as has been traditional, I will test it on the wood as well. It has been moved onto the wood. Now it's not on the bottom of the phone, it's kind of on the side towards the bottom of the unit. So I'm not sure if this is making a whole lot of difference or not. Regardless, I just put it back on the carpet, and I'm going to start moving away from the phone now. Right now I'm about a foot away from the unit, speaking right over the top of it. And I'm going to start moving backwards. Now with about 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet away. I'm still getting further as time goes on. Sounds like something spell over there. I'm about 5 feet away, 6 feet away, 7 feet away, 8, 9, and 11. Now I'm all the way across the room. So, okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to put the phone onto the piece of wood. And I'm going to move all the way across the room again and see if that makes any difference as far as how the audio is picked up from the distance. I am now all the way across the room. This is with the telephone on a piece of wood. Okay, that will conclude the base speakerphone test.
End of messages.